Pokrovsk, Donetsk region. Ukrainian military sources reported that a unit associated with the Azov Brigade disrupted a Russian assault involving motorcycle-mounted troops near the frontline city of Pokrovsk, an area that has seen intensified fighting in recent months. According to Ukrainian statements, Russian forces attempted a rapid advance using motorcycles, a tactic increasingly observed in eastern Ukraine as both sides adapt to drone surveillance and artillery threats. Ukrainian defenders claim that elite marksmen operating in the area engaged the convoy, forcing it to halt and resulting in significant losses of equipment and personnel. The Azov Brigade, part of Ukraine's National Guard, has been active in defensive operations across the Donetsk region. Ukrainian officials say the unit's snipers played a key role in countering the assault, preventing Russian troops from reaching Ukrainian defensive positions. Independent verification of battlefield claims remains difficult due to ongoing hostilities and limited access to the front line. Military analysts note that the use of motorcycles reflects Russia's efforts to increase speed and maneuverability on contested terrain, especially where armored vehicles are vulnerable to drones and precision strikes. However, such tactics also expose troops to higher risk when confronted by well-prepared defensive positions. Fighting around Pokrovsk continues as Russian forces attempt to advance westward, while Ukrainian units focus on holding key logistical routes and population centers. Local authorities have urged civilians to evacuate where possible, citing persistent shelling and the danger posed by active combat. As the conflict grinds on, engagements like this highlight how the war has evolved into a battle of adaptation, with both sides relying on smaller, faster units and specialized soldiers to influence the outcome on the ground. Geolocated footage shows the entire column burning just 1 kilometer from its staging area, with dozens of Ukrainian drones already positioned to intercept. Here, the Russian forces are looking for a way to outflank the Ukrainian resistance in northern Pokrovsk after suffering terrible losses for weeks. However, the Ukrainian defenders are prepared and on the lookout for any approaching Russians, ready to destroy them with swarms of drones. The Ukrainians have successfully prevented enemy penetrations north of the railway line, so the Russians want to attack the western flank and advance towards Hrishine. The Russian objective is to isolate northern Pokrovsk and endanger its supply routes, thereby intensifying the pressure. Such a disruption could compel the remaining Ukrainian forces to withdraw, as their positions would become unsustainable in an already hard situation. By forcing a Ukrainian pullback to more favorable terrain, the Russian command would avoid direct assaults and house-to-house close-quarter engagements that would otherwise inflict substantial casualties on their units. Russia's approach to attack Hrishine bases on the element of surprise and the deployment of quick-moving motorcycles and buggies to mount a lightning assault and drop off infantry inside the village, as it is only 3.5 kilometers away from the Russian-controlled part of Pokrovsk. To achieve this, Russia aims to exploit its consolidation of gains in southern Pokrovsk, which serves as a staging ground for its forces, and the buildings provide partial protection from Ukrainian drones. Another factor is the local road, which is in relatively good condition, leading directly to Hiroshine from Pokrovsk, which allows the Russians to try to push quickly towards the settlement and surprise the Ukrainians. Unfortunately for the Russians, some of Ukraine's most capable drone units are deployed in this sector, conducting tight surveillance of the area because they expect a Russian attack. The Ukrainian command can also utilize the extensive defensive fortifications, which were built behind Pokrovsk, with the purpose of stopping exactly this type of assault. The beginning of the winter season is an obstacle for the Russian efforts, because despite the presence of tree lines along the roads, they currently provide no concealment, and with the onset of snowfall, even smaller vehicles such as buggies and motorcycles become significantly easier for drone operators to detect.
Где у них опорник, братан, ты видишь?
At the same time, Ukraine's forces are also not in an ideal position, simultaneously defending the western and northern parts of Pokrovsk and the northern flank of the wider urban agglomeration. This creates a substantial operational burden that increases the risk of missing Russian assault groups, leaving Ukrainian units overstretched. According to Ukrainian Commander-in-Chief Syrskyi, the Russians still possess enough manpower in this sector after accumulating approximately 155,000 troops, which gives them a substantial advantage over the Ukrainians, despite the heavy losses. Geolocated footage from Ukrainian drone operators captures the sequence of the Russian attack and how early the advancing forces were detected. Despite the vehicle's speed and maneuverability, the column was halted roughly 1 kilometer after departing Pokrovsk, where the lead vehicle was immediately targeted. Additional footage shows the aftermath, with all vehicles burning simultaneously. Clear evidence that multiple strikes were delivered at once. Since drone attacks do not always achieve a kill on the first attempt, the number of destroyed vehicles indicates that dozens of Ukrainian drones were already positioned to intercept the assault, preventing any Russian unit from reaching Hiroshine. Another video shows surviving Russian soldiers attempting to continue their advance, but in their panic, they failed to disperse, allowing a single FPV drone to neutralize them. In total, the failed Russian push resulted in the destruction of 10 vehicles and the loss of 40 soldiers, eliminating their attempt to execute an outflanking maneuver. Overall, Russia's new approach of attacking the western flank towards Hiroshine by surprise resulted in even more losses, as the Russian command disregarded the high activity of the Ukrainian drone units, which monitor and punish every movement. Ukrainian drone operators proved their effectiveness again, and demonstrated how important they are for holding the line in and around Pokrovsk. These developments may compel Russian forces to adjust their tactics or turn their attention to another part of the front line around the embattled town.
Отсюда туда. Давай, давай, давай. Да куда я тебя залечу, блядь?
Принял, работаем!
Выйдите, породите, скажите, туда не зайдешь. Отход, отход.